like that's so obviously too, like the first question that I start everybody on, because it kind of brings us back to like a younger version of yourself. Where did you both fall in love with music? And I know Jess, with you, I know Jagged Little Pill. I was like looking, that was
Hmm.
like one of your first things you bought, like when you were 10. Did
Yeah,
that play a role in you falling in love with
I
music?
I think 1000%. That is the very first thing I ever bought with my own money. I was 10 years old and Jagged Little Pill came out and I was like, I have to go get it. And I remember I had it was on cassette. So yeah, and I used to once I got it, I just played it on loop. I had to rewind it all the way and play it back and I would have my window open. I'd be screaming into the abyss.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think Alanis Morissette like really did it for me. And I what I really appreciate about her so much is just like the rawness and the vulnerability in her music. It
Yeah.
really, really stuck with me. I could listen to her forever and
Hmm.
be completely content and happy. I think growing up, like my dad, being in the car with my dad, he always had the Who on. He had like Tommy that he had recorded himself on a cassette in his car. And
That's how we did it.
yeah.
Hmm.
So like my dad was definitely the one to introduce me to music in the first place. Like I remember just being in the car with him and listening to the Who, listening to the Beatles. Um, but the first artist on my own was 1000% Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, I always say it like this is when people was like, "Oh, you're old," but I was like, "Listen, they don't make music sometimes the way they used to." Like I think of like Alanis, like yes, we have female fronted bands and artists, but there was something about her. Like my mom loved her, so like we would be in the car and Alanis Morissette. That's all. Like I remember hearing "You Ought to Know," and again, should I at 10 or whatever age I was be listening to that? Probably not. Didn't understand it, but as I got older, it grew with me, right? So it was like, oh, now I understand this, like in my 20s and my 30s, and like now I just turned 40 and now I really understand about my past relationships.
Yeah.
Like artists like that are like really, really great. And the car is something for me too, all the time. I always can pinpoint. I'm like, I remember hearing this in the car and just, buying that physical CD. Like so many, like we have records now, like everybody's into, but like let's bring back the CD, like getting that CD and like that physical media of going to Best Buy or wherever and getting like
Yeah.
a CD to put
Reading
in
the
your
liner
car.
notes and everything, and the
Yes.
Yeah.
artwork, and yeah.
Yeah, like
Um,
it's you know what it is too, like when you have like the physical album of something and like you can hear the B-side stuff and
mhm.
like it's right there for you. Like you don't have to go searching to see like, oh, like what else did this artist come out with? Like it's all right there. And like you're saying with the liner, like I remember I had gotten Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt and I remember like going through the lyrics and making sure I had them memorized 100% like because that was my jam too back in the day.
Oh, same. That, yeah. Yeah, Gwen, like that was, yeah, no doubt all that. And like, yeah, the liner notes, like just reading, like, and who people thanked. And then I could find a
Mhm.
band, like, oh, they thanked, who is that? Like, why are they thanking them? Nine times out of 10, I found so many other musicians because I read those liner notes of like, oh, this record label and so cool. But what about you, Dan?
Well, I was 16 when Master of Puppets came out.
Okay.
And that pretty much that was the beginning.
Hmm.
There was stuff there was before that and there was after that. So once that came out, my friends and I were all in. We were just all completely all in. And then once we got into the 90s and the grunge started, I went to see the Clash of the Titans tour, which was Anthrax, Slayer, and Megadeth. And Alice in Chains opened. And once I saw them open, I was like, oh, I'm in.
Hmm.
That's it. Here I go. I'm in. And then I was like all into the grunge, the Alice in Chains, the Soundgarden, and everything all in the 90s. And then in the 90s, I was in my 20s, living in a cool neighborhood in Brooklyn. Just like during that time, it was really a great time to be that age and have that time to go to shows and while all that was coming out.
I always say it like the 90s was so special and I wish I was in my 20s then. Like I was young. So like for me it was like man, what I wouldn't give to like see Soundgarden and just like, even Bush. Like I love Gavin Rossdale, like everything
Mhm.
like that. So it was like, yeah, I ended up seeing them when I was like a teenager, but it was like I wanted to see like starting out how everybody did, or they would go to Chicago at the Metro and see. They're like, oh, I saw, I'm still so sad that I never got to see Soundgarden or even like I don't even think I saw like Audio Slave with Chris Cornell because I loved just him as a vocalist.
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
Oh, just
amazing.
phenomenal. Like, and it's like, I'm so sad. I'm like, I never got that opportunity. So now I'm almost like, no matter what you're doing, figure it out. Go see those people you want to go because you don't want to miss out.
Right. Right. I have a show poster in the back there, Soundgarden from 2015 at Monmouth University. And I
Wow.
was very lucky that I got to see them at that point because, he died a few years later. So,
Wow. Oh, and I mean, that's another thing too we have to get into a little bit is like New Jersey. Like you guys obviously
mhm.
living here and I'm the transplant, but even being here a couple years, it's like it's so special here. And like when I moved here at first, I didn't know anybody. I moved here because I met my fiance and he lived here. I lived in Chicago. And at the time, it was like, it's easier for me to move my career a little bit than yours. You stay there. I've always wanted to live on the East Coast anyway, so this is like life working out in a weird way. Okay, let's do this. And it was like finding music and the venues and okay, who's a local band? That was so special to me, like finding like peace living here because I was like, it's so fast paced compared to like Chicago and everything. For you guys, what is so special about New Jersey and being here?
For me, I'm actually also a transplant.
Okay.
So I moved out here the end of 2016. So I'm from New York originally. Um, and
Say which part of New York?
oh, no, I would rather not. I'm from Staten Island. It's not all bad, I swear.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I moved out in 2016. I was not in the music scene then at all. I was I had my I was pregnant with my daughter and I had my young son. So like I was like full momming, like whatever, and like doing all that up until 2021 was midlife crisis struck, which was probably the most wonderful thing to happen to me. Because I've always had like a deep love for music. It's always been something that helped me get through things and be able to connect. And in 2021 um, was when I met Dan. We actually met Lake House Music Academy in Red Bank. They had just opened up that location, and I was outside the day that they opened, waiting for my son to come out of Count Basie. He had like an acting thing. And I'm looking, I was like, what is this? And
Mhm.
one of the guys, this guy, Ben, who used to work there, he was outside and he's like, are you interested? I was like, well, you do adult stuff? And he's like, yeah. I was like, my only experience is karaoke. Like, what do you have for
Mhm.
me? And that was it. I started there. Dan came in a few months later. Um, and honestly, through them, we just met so many amazing people. It's such a great community. It's full of so many talented folk and just different different styles and different vibes and like just all such good people and solid people. So like for me, being in Jersey and having exposure to all of those people, getting to meet Dan and like all the rest of the guys in our band, like it's really been I feel it's like a culmination of like what my life was leading up to. And it's just really a blessing, honestly, to be out here where there's so many people doing such great things, and that are so supportive of each other. So that's me.
And I see that. And I would get a lot of like crap from people back home when I moved here. That was a couple years. And I would say like, it's like dragging teeth to get anyone back on my podcast, like from back home. It's like this, me, I'm like New Jersey. I'm like, they are the kindest, supportive people that I've met along the way. And it's like, whether it's creatively they're doing music or they're a photographer, whatever it is, they're just, I'm like, because when I'll say, oh, they're so nice, people are like, oh, well, all we hear is that people in New Jersey are not nice, or like the East Coast in general. And I said, I'm telling you, they are very nice. I said, now, of course, like anyone knows, there are some people like any place you meet but I said, New Jersey in general, I said, I have had a great experience, at least in the music community, where they're just like, yeah, these are my people. Okay, now I feel like home. So I can definitely see that. And yeah, I've heard about Staten Island, but it's like I've never been. But it's like, listen, there's justice there. Listen, it's not all bad. But what about you, Dan?
I moved out here from Brooklyn the year after 9/11.
Hmm.
This we pretty much got priced out of the city. We wanted to start a family, we wanted to buy a home, and it wasn't going to happen where we were. And I also wanted a place to park the car. That was
Yeah.
the other thing. It's like when you live in the city, there's certain things that you give up for being in the city, and that was one of them. And so we came out here, and then we started a family, and then really, when the kids are little, really couldn't do a lot of going out, really couldn't do a lot of kind of like finding out where everything is. And that's kind of when about 10 years ago, I decided I'm going to get back into playing again because I played in bands when I was in my early 20s and played all throughout New York and, all the clubs in the Village and CBGBs and those places and whatnot. And then, kind of started a family and whatnot and kind of drifted away from it. So then about 10 years ago, I got back into playing. And then when I got to the point that the kids were old enough that oh, well, dad could, I kind of have a night out now,
Yeah.
and that's when I went and I saw this. Actually, I went to the Count Basie Theater to see a comedian, and I was walking by and I saw these folks playing in there, and I'm like, what is going on in there? And then I saw a sign that said, oh, open house at such and such a time. And I missed the open house, but I called them and, oh, come Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Yeah, all right. So I just kind of like, and I stood outside for a while and I almost left, because it's like that your comfort zone, like kind of like what's going to happen if I go in there? And I
Hmm.
didn't know that I was going to be handed a guitar and basically said, here, play with these guys for the next 2 hours. That I didn't, that I didn't
Yeah.
expect. But then we kind of did that and then things just clicked. And then, it was a place to go and rehearse every week. And then, they set up shows in all the major clubs all over Monmouth County, pretty much. And then I was like, oh, well, all right, these are all the places. This is where everybody plays, and got a chance to play there and got a chance to have that experience. And then we kind of, had a couple of lineup changes throughout the last couple of years. And then last year or the year before, 2 years ago now,
Hmm.
we kind of like settled into who we have, and it just clicked. Like we all just something just worked between all of us. It's like when it does and when it doesn't,
Hmm.
and when it does, you want to
Like
you want to
hold on to
appreciate
it.
that and hold
Yeah.
on to it as much as possible. So just kind of like we just look forward to rehearsing every week and writing music and throwing in some covers, and we've just having a blast.
Oh, and I love that. It's always like those moments, like had you not walked in there, had you not seen that, like
Exactly.
where would you like? I think of that all the time in so many different little moments. I'm like, had I not done that, or like met that person, or like just I wouldn't. I'm like, I know I wouldn't be doing this today. I wouldn't be doing so many cool things right now. Like had I not do that, and it is so important to find almost like that chosen family and like music. I've seen so many people like that I've talked to, and they've said that like when it works, when you just meet someone. Like I had a group on the other day, and they said, oh, it was like Craigslist for bands. I forget the name, but they used up something there was,
Mhm.
um, and they said that like they weren't sure at first, but they did like a Zoom that was supposed to be like maybe a half hour, and it was just hours of them talking, and they just knew they were like, we're gonna be in this,
Yep.
we it fits, and I think you can't, it's like the universe working for that. And I think to part of your story that I think is really just as someone who is 40 now and older doing something that like is their dream and their passion for you guys too and never to bring up age because listen, like age is just a number. We are cool. We are who cares? But a lot of people think when they're like over 30 they have to give up a dream. Like that's it. The ship has sailed. For you guys, like how does that feel to be like going after your dream when like almost again society is saying like, hey, like that ship has sailed.
Yeah, no, I think it's honestly like the coolest thing. And like I'm sure there's people who look at us like we're nuts.
Hmm.
Um, because, we're all 40 plus. Um, I mean, if somebody had told me at 30, hey, you're gonna join a band at 37 and you're gonna be singing and then you're gonna pick up a bass 2 years later and you're gonna be writing music at like well into your 40s, and it'd be like I would have looked at them like they were insane.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there's something to be said about like taking the risks that life gives you and like the opportunities that life gives you. Age doesn't mean anything when it comes to doing what makes you happy and what you're passionate about. Um, if anything, I think having the age and having the experience like allows you to be even more vulnerable and even more like real when it comes to creating and being open about the process. And um yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna be 42 in December, which sounds like a really big, scary number.
Mhm.
Um, and but like, yes, realistically, what is the likelihood of somebody at 42 suddenly striking it big? I don't know. If it happens, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but what I do know is that at almost 42, like I can say I've written songs. I can say at least one person has heard what's come out of our crazy mind storms.
Mhm.
um and even if that one person ends up taking taking something from the music, or if it just gives them a little bit of inspiration to know like, hey, there's still people doing this, like take a chance on yourself. um I think that's what makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I agree because like that's me, like even me, like so many people are like, oh, when are you gonna give that up? Are you still doing the music stuff? Like, oh, I can't believe like I had a old friend that like added me a long time ago and they were just like, oh, it's cool that you're still doing that. Like, is that I can't believe you're still doing that. And I was like, when you're passionate about something, whether it is music or art or something, there is no age limit. There is no, and like you should still go after it. And it's like that's part of me still doing this is like I want to show people like you don't have to just because you're in your 30s and just if you love to do it because you love to do it. And like you said, if there's one person, I'm sure there's more than one person that has heard it and is like, this is really, really cool. And they can be inspired by that because I think a lot of times people just, yeah, they're quick to like pull the plug on someone's like dream. And I think sometimes maybe that's an internal thing sometimes of like they didn't do it. So it's like, why are you doing it? And I don't want to speak for anyone, but I've noticed that a little bit. A lot of times, like any criticism is like internal,
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
and it is. Yeah.
I can't even. There's so many people that have, said to me, "Oh, I've always wanted to learn an instrument. I've wanted to play the guitar, or, I played it when I was 18 and I put it down, or whatever." And I'm like, "So do it again." And they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, do it
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
Do it." I work. I'm a therapist, and I work full time at the VA, and we did and they're still going on. Little kind of a guitar group for disabled vets. And some of them never touched an instrument in their life. And some of them, did when they were kids, but their father didn't like it. So they had to get rid of it or something. And some of these guys are like from Vietnam and
Hmm.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And then you got them sitting around in a circle playing chords and having a blast. Like I never thought, and they look forward to it. It's like, oh, I never thought I could do this because nobody that says, go ahead,
Hmm.
do it. Why not?
Wow, like that, I even hearing that, like that's me. Like I have a guitar sitting here in the corner that I was gifted, and I was really like, oh, I want to learn how to play. But every day I'll be like, I really want to learn how to play, and it's like, what is stopping me from just sitting down with this instrument? Why am I not doing it? Is this going to be another year? So I'm like, no, I'm focused that this year I'm going to at least sit down with it and attempt it. Because so many times, like, what is stopping me? Like, what? Maybe I don't sit there and like mental health and all that, doom scroll for a little bit. And that
Mhm.
time I
Mhm.
could be sitting down with that and learning that. So I think that's really cool. And obviously, like part of my show is how music and mental health. And I know you guys are big, even listening to your songs, you can tell how vulnerable you get and whether it's like talking about self-worth, and things like that. For you, how is music that place, to feel comfortable to express emotions?
Um, like for me, um, I've always enjoyed writing in general, but it's typically been for myself. Um, and I guess I was a little bit like George McFly, like, what if they say I'm no good?
Hmm.
It
They're all
was
gonna laugh at you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember like the first time that I brought out like I had an idea for a song. Um, it was actually Beautiful Disaster, which is on the album that we did in November. And I brought it, and Dan was one of the ones who looked at it. And I remember like sitting in the corner, like, oh my gosh, like somebody's looking at my words and like
Yeah.
you're seeing me for a moment, like no
Hmm.
You
mask,
excited
like
that, right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
but like I remember like after they're like okay like let's do it like let's get it to music and I was like whoa like this is super cool like um and it's for me like I really appreciate the process of pouring bits of myself out and then being able to share them with people because I know for a very long time in my life I did not share the inner bits um I was and still am, but I'm working on it. Being like a people pleaser, big time. Like slap a smile on your face, pretend everything's okay, make things comfortable for other people. You don't share, um, the bits about yourself that are uncomfortable. Um, so I think writing music and sharing it has really helped me with my mental health and just being able to kind of overcome that and like learning how to fully be myself and let my mask drop and share the pieces of myself that I used to be afraid of letting other people see.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people say too, they feel just that safety in there and doing that, like even hearing like people pleaser, like I'm now, I don't know what it was, ever since I turned 40, I'm like that recovered people pleaser. It's like
Hmm.
I used to be that way of like, and now I'm more like not 100%, but a lot more of just no, like this, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And and some people like that's they don't like that. They're like, wait a second, you were always that person that like, oh, go with the flow. And like, yeah, there's like, no, listen, it's life is too short. No, I cannot.
Yeah.
I
And like I feel
cannot.
like there's a big like and I've learned this in the past couple of years. Like I've always wanted to treat people with kindness.
Hmm.
And that's always been what I've strived to do. And it took a very long time for me to realize that kindness does not equate to not having boundaries.
Hmm.
Kindness does not equate to being a doormat for people, and seeking validation from others. And when you don't understand that and you're still in full people pleaser mode, like it really does set you up to be in situations where, there's people who are not maybe not the best for you, situations that aren't the best for you. Um, and like I know for myself, like I used to kind of chase that and be like, I'm going to prove that I'm good enough.
Hmm.
Um, and learning that about myself and kind of coming face to face you know, with that reality, um, has helped me grow a lot, and I attribute a lot of that to creating. And like me and Dan always say, like, music is our therapy. Like, band
Hmm.
practice is our therapy, writing is our therapy, and it really does help you get it all out there and understand yourself, understand other people. um so like for me, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that in my life.
Yeah, and you can hear that too, like in Trauma Bond, which I already like the title of the. I was like, I love the title of this just because it just and the cover art and just everything with it. But I think that's so important to say, like, where some people, I always say, like, some people just listen to the music, but like some people like are the music, and you can tell, like, in you talking about that and how what it does for you, that definitely comes across because, like I said, like there's some things like open book wise where you're like. What if I felt that? But would I be comfortable having this out there for everybody like to hear? I don't know. Like even though I am an open book, but it's like that's you get really vulnerable. So I think for someone that really resonated, I appreciate that. But I'm sure again, it was a work in progress to get there to have that comfort. So again, as a listener, I appreciate that because I was like I can see myself a little bit in here, especially like everything. I can hear like feel myself a little bit there.
Oh, thank you.
When
Yeah.
when Jess wrote the track Trauma Bond, as soon as we wrote that, I said to her, "That's the title track,"
Hmm.
you know,
Yes.
and so it was. It just
Yes.
it just like came right out of my mouth, just like not even I didn't even think about it, you know.
Oh, again, it's that universe like working and like
Yeah.
that's so cool. And like for you, Dan, like how has music made an impact in your mental health and been that aid?
Oh, it's just always been, would find, with a job like mine, I'm
Yeah.
absorbing people's trauma like all day,
Yeah.
you know, and you need to have some kind of an outlet. You need to be able to take care of yourself. And like, I noticed that, like, I like to watch, stupid TV that has nothing to do with anything, where my brain doesn't need to work.
Yeah.
90 Day Fiance, that kind of stuff.
Same. Yes.
And I would always, I watched them all, and I always yell at the television. And when the tell-all comes, that's the most exciting thing. I get
Yes,
my
right.
daughter and we watch it. But I always would find myself grabbing a guitar and just sitting down and just kind of holding the guitar and just kind of noodling around and just kind of playing around. But it just always made me feel comfortable just doing that. And then it really got me to realize like how important that is to me and how much I look forward to band practice and us going and just all playing together and creating and playing loud and just kind of
Hmm.
getting that out. And then there's nothing's on my mind during that point. We're just playing and that's it. And nothing's on my mind, whether it's performing or practicing, either one. It's just I don't have to think about anything.
And like you bring that up too, because like you think about it, we all have like our 9 to 5s and what we do. And it's like you need that release. And especially like for what you do, Dan, where it's like I can only imagine like absorbing in not in a negative way, but the traumas of people that you're around. And it's like, yes, you love what you do, but that's a lot, that's really heavy. Like whenever I have someone on that's I had Dan Rinaldi on, and he's a therapist, and he was a musician, now therapist. Now he's back into like his almost like going with like the industry and helping everybody out with like
Yep,
touring and everything. And he's wonderful, but it's like, yeah, I can't imagine sitting there while you're struggling as well in your own mental health, right? And then your job requires that. You need that release, whether it's music or creativity or something, because yeah, that's a lot to hold in.
yep, absolutely, absolutely. When you let it come out in the creativity, some really beautiful things can happen.
Yeah, I mean it has. I mean, like obviously, like Trauma Bond has been out since November, which is I feel like that's not so long ago, but it really is because we're in May. I can't believe we're sitting here and it's May. For you guys, like, what are you most proud of now that this has been out, and you've got you play shows and everything. Like, what has been so special about that?
Hmm. If I don't know if I can pinpoint a single thing. I think I'm just really happy that we get to do it.
Yeah.
I'm really I'm just very proud of all of us for putting it out there. And um learning from each other, collaborating together to create something. I think it's one of the greatest accomplishments
Hmm.
of my life. And yeah, I couldn't, there's no way to like pinpoint one single, like, oh, this is the thing I can settle in on. I think just the experience as a whole of working together as a group and getting the album out there, just the whole process, the writing, the creating, the recording.
What about the little girls that have come up to you at
Yes,
performances?
yes. Oh,
Oh,
that's the best. That is the
It's
best.
happened several times.
Yeah,
oh,
like when we're performing, there's always at least like whenever there's kids around, there's always at least like one little one that'll come over and start like rocking out, and
oh,
it takes everything to not completely melt, and it's
And
I
come
think
up to you after the
yeah,
shows with the mother to tell
yeah,
you how much they admired.
and I
oh,
think that's
wow.
that's the coolest thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay, we do have a pinpoint. That's probably
That is so great. And like I can only imagine because like I work with kids for a living. That's my profession. And it's like I can picture like some of the little ones I watch of like seeing that and like going up or and again like much like you talk about Alanis Morissette like when we started like this conversation and being inspired like how many of those like those little girls going up are going to say like Jess and the Dropouts like I saw them and that inspired me that oh like a a girl can play guitar you know because that's a simple thing but like sometimes maybe society thinks like but again the music industry we all know how that goes with women in music and stuff but I think how special that has to be that's oh that even got me where I'm like I can just picture you playing and that happening and like that feeling.
yeah. No, that's probably one of the best feelings is like when you see like the little ones out there like connect and be like, oh my gosh. Like I had one girl came up, she's like, Mommy, it's the rock star. And I was like, oh
Oh,
my God.
oh my that's like my little nephew I've gotten him into music and I love it because now he's not like one for like the children's music. Like he likes some of it, but he loves the Menzingers. He loves them so
Nice.
much to where I'll put on like lookers and he'll just like bob his little head, bob his foot, and he gets so excited to listen to music. And it's like, see, like kids at a young age, they can gravitate towards something. And who knows, like, you know, when I'm older, he may even be like, oh yeah, I first fell in love with music listening to the Menzingers with Aunt Lisa. Like, I don't know. Like,
Probably will.
Yeah.
you know, like that's
Probably
wild if
will.
he even knows, you know, I
Mhm.
don't know. But is there any moments for you, Dan, that like stick out?
So I think like Jess said, like the whole experience of just being able to perform with people that you like and people that you
Yeah.
click with,
Yeah.
that's precious time, being able to do that. And I think one thing that helps of kind of me doing this at kind of this point in my life is I could really appreciate it,
Hmm.
and kind of understand like this doesn't happen all the time. This doesn't happen for most people,
Hmm.
being able to get up and have that opportunity to do that. I have two kids, one's 21 and one's 16, and they're both musicians. And my oldest is at Rutgers, and he's a much better musician than me, and he's playing in two different bands in the New Brunswick scene, like
Okay.
and all that stuff. And for him, it's kind of like another, it's another Friday night, it's another night, and I want to grab him and say, hold on to this.
Hmm.
Understand, this is precious.
Yes. Oh, oh yeah. And that New Brunswick scene, like finding that even for me, it's like that's why even knowing what New Jersey was hearing about New Brunswick and that scene and everything for bands like Thursday, that like all those bands in those basements and just like
Yep. Yep.
wow, like
Hmm.
that's so cool and like that history. And I tell people now that like when they don't go to local shows, and I'm like, go to shows because again, it is so important. It is so good. I'm like, that's where I spent my teens and 20s, and
Hmm.
I still go out. I still do that. And it's like you don't realize how special those moments are. Like
Yeah.
not only for
Yeah.
the band playing, but like for you that you get to experience that feeling in a room. Um, go do that. Go do it. It's so important, especially in an era where concert tickets are an arm and a
Oh my
leg.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many bands that I see that I'm like, well, that's like 60, $70. And then like, what if you have to go to New York? You know,
That's if
like,
you're
Yeah.
lucky.
yeah. Oh, I
Really?
know. If you're, I couldn't believe when I just recently saw Haley Williams, in New York and they were 60. And even me, I was like, back then I would have been like, that's so much. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, $60. That's okay. But
Yeah, that's not
I
bad.
you
wouldn't
know,
say cheap, but that's on the lower end of what you're going to pay
oh,
for, A-list, folks
yeah.
like that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It's a crazy in the world where we live in where we're spending so much. Like go on a Friday night or Saturday, like especially like Asbury Park. Like
Yeah.
bands
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
there all the time.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I know you guys have some shows coming up too. So like for you, um, what is that like then? I mean, we already touched on it a little bit, but like songs from this record, what is that like? Like, okay, we created this, and is there ever like a specific song that you get to play live that you're just like, oh, I have this special connection with this one now because like the way it hit live for other people.
I think when we do, well, it's also like my personal favorite on the album. So when I see people connect with it, it's really cool is Smile.
Mhm.
Um, when we go into that and like I see people bopping and like, and especially like seeing like when there's like other women, because it is a very woman experience centered song.
Yes.
Um, so like seeing other women connect with it, I think is a really super cool experience.
Oh yeah. And anyone like listening or watching, like again, I'll have all the links. But yeah, Smile is one of the right away too for me, where it's like, yeah, we've all been there as a woman, a young girl. It's yeah, that so many people can't understand unless they are a woman.
Hmm.
Or they hear if they're a friend and they have a daughter or they just are a good person. I'm gonna say that they understand what's going on in that. So it's yeah, that's I can definitely see that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one makes it onto most of the set lists. Like
Yeah.
we may rotate through the other tracks, but that one is the common denominator that's usually on there.
Yeah. That's a go-to original when we're doing sets.
Mhm.
Oh, and I can see why for sure. Like, yeah, that's already, I'm like, oh, I'm already looking at those dates. I'm like, is there one I can maybe sneak out to and go? Because I definitely do. Um, and Dan, is there a song that like besides Smile that like for you, that you just feel like there's this connection to?
Well, interesting because Empty was one of the first songs we ever wrote.
Okay.
And it was before Jess was really writing music. She was writing lyrics and melody, but she started writing music more once she picked up the bass. And so there was a couple of riffs in there that I was messing around with that made it into the song. And like any guitar player will tell you, sometimes you pick it up and you start playing this riff and you start playing and my mother would have said you get happy on something for a while. It's like I keep playing that, then it made it in. But
Yeah.
the middle kind of breakdown in that song where the keyboards come in and it's
Yeah.
like it's like this big wall of sound. That whole piece I wrote when I was 20, and it always kind of stayed with me. And so then to be able to kind of put that in like now, and once I'm in the middle of playing that, I go back, I go back to, the early 90s as to where I was at that time. And it's pretty special for me.
Yeah, it's almost like that time capsule almost, right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like music can be like that. I know a lot of times if I ever bring that up, people are like, well, the record is the time capsule, not the song. But I'm like,
Mhm.
sometimes I bet a song can. Like at least for me, there's certain songs that like I hear and I'm just like, oh yeah, I was like 8 years old hearing this. Like when like I think Third Eye Blind, Semi-Charmed Life came
Mhm.
out, and it was like I
Mhm.
remember where I was, the music video, my age. Um, and man, I wish I could go back to that where I was like buying the cassette and having that and
Right.
just life and how that was. So I do think like songs and definitely is that time capsule for sure. And it's for you too, like we're in 2026, which is again wild. We have some shows coming up. We have Trauma Bond. Is there anything that we can expect that's on the way for you guys this year?
Yes. We're working out right now. I believe the date is going to be July 11th that we get back into the studio. Um, and we have three songs that we're going to be recording
So far.
so far.
She's
We
liable
always
to write
always
seven more
start with
before
like,
then.
yeah, we're going to go in for like, two or three, and then it's like, actually, here's all of this.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're definitely gonna be recording in the summer, sometime in July. So we should have some stuff out, probably like fall of this year. We'll start having stuff to release, which is cool and exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, too like going into the studio, what is that like then? Okay, so if you have three songs and then who knows what you're gonna have when you actually go in. What is that feeling like when you go into the studio and it's like, okay, we have Trauma Bond, people are loving this, or we love this as well. Is there ever like any pressure when you go into the studio?
Um, I've got to be honest. When we record, we actually record at Lake House. They have a recording studio in Asbury. And because that's become such a home base for us, um, and just the people there are so like they're like such a safe space. And um, so yeah, I mean, of course there's pressure to like you have a time limit and you have to make sure you get nail everything within this certain time frame. So there's a little bit of pressure
Or
there.
you have to sit in the angry
Or
chair.
yeah, Dan has sat in the angry chair. I'm pretty sure I had a time in the angry chair the last one we did. Um, but in all, I think the environment there kind of helps ease the nerves, just because it's a place where we feel very supported and very at home. So I think that helps a
Yeah,
ton.
we make, we make the best of the time. We enjoy it. Yeah, there's pressure to do it well. I think that's kind of really what it is because, it's not cheap.
Hmm.
And you're working with professional engineers and everything like that, and you're always thinking like, oh, is this guy judging me or is that guy judging me? And we did. I think when we did the album, we did 7 tracks. We tracked 7 songs in one day. And we just kind of like blew through those and because we rehearsed the living heck out of those songs and we really, really, really prepared. So by the time you get in to track, like we're ready to go. We know what we're doing, how we're doing it, what the beats per minute is, where the stuff, we're not writing in the studio. We are recording in the studio. So by the time we get there, we're ready to go. But yeah, there is definite pressure. Because like you alluded to before too, is anyone gonna like this? Like
Well, also there
Yeah.
was we do have one song that we did mess around with in the studio, and that was on me. It was one of the songs that we released on Trauma Bond was Beautiful Disaster. It was written before I played bass. Um so when we were getting it together to record it, I had picked up the bass by that point, and I was in the initial, I think I had only been playing bass for
three
like
days.
probably I think I picked up bass in February. We went and recorded that in like April or May. So like I had only been playing bass for like 2 or 3 months at that point. And so when I was learning the bass line, I was in a completely different key. So we had gone into the recording studio like all ready to go and we're playing it and I was like, this doesn't sound right. Like, no, it's because it's not. So like I had to quick like be like, okay, like where am I playing on
Jess,
this?
every note you played was wrong.
Every single note was wrong. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking. But aside from that, though, I think every other recording experience has been pretty well rehearsed and
Yeah.
prepared for.
But that goes back to the point of just try it, right?
Mhm,
Like out
Hmm.
of your comfort zone. That was not your comfort zone yet, but
yeah.
you went out and you did it, and then the finished product came out great. You just went out and did it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting out of your comfort zone is so important. I feel like in anything you do. And then like even this, like I remember when I wanted to start this, like it was like I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to edit audio. I don't know how to edit video. I don't know how to do like anything. And like as someone too, like I suffer deeply with social anxiety and like, oh, getting in here with people I don't know, I've never met before. That's not going to happen. That's not comfortable. But like if I wanted to achieve that and like do this podcast or like do this, you got to do it. Like you
Yeah.
got to figure it out. And you figure it out. And like listen, my first round of doing this podcast, it was the most awful thing. It's not even anywhere. Like nobody can listen to it because like it's gone forever. Um
Like I have
and
scrubbed it from the
it is
You won't
internet.
gone.
allow anyone.
It is scrubbed from the internet. You cannot find it. But it's like it again, getting out of that and like learning from that and getting over that hump. It's like, okay, now I'm here 3 years doing it. And then I think about myself, like, what if I didn't get over that? And I tell everyone all the time, like, yeah, it was a bad first run, but like everyone when they start something like out of your comfort zone, you're not the best at it, but you
Right.
Mhm.
get there. And like overcoming that is so like crucial in creativity, whether it's something I do or like again, what musicians do is way, I always say above and beyond because like I'm still struggling to play this guitar. But it's so good to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, I know for me, like when we started the band, like I was just singing. And it was like 2 weeks before, like they have like big gigs through Lake House, like we were saying, like they
Mhm.
where they book like these stages, and it was 2 weeks before a gig at Asbury Lanes, and our bassist like dropped off the face of the earth, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what are we gonna do? And I was like, I'm the only one without an instrument, so like I guess here we go. And just kind of dove right into it, and it was absolutely terrifying. I was in on a stage in front of people, and I didn't know, I didn't know what a fret was. I
Mhm.
had no idea like what a scale was. I was looking at tabs like just to figure it out. And
You were determined though.
but I was very determined, and I was like I'm gonna make this work. And I think just like throwing yourself all in, um I think there's something to be said about that, and like just taking a chance on yourself. And like I I mean, I look back at, we still have a video of that somewhere, and like I remember like it came up on like my timeline,
You
like
played
of
the right
memories.
notes.
I was like, hey, the notes are there.
Yeah,
Like
you
the
played the right
timing maybe
notes.
wasn't the greatest, but like it got there. And like I see where I was then, and that was like 3 years ago. And like now, like just to see the growth, and like that wouldn't have happened if I didn't take that risk, and if I didn't take that chance on myself. And um so I think there's a lot to be said about, you know, being willing to kind of throw yourself to the wolves. And you know, and if you fall on your face once, twice, 10 times, eventually you're going to be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
what a lesson, like if anyone again is listening to that, because like it's so important. Because yeah, sometimes you do. It's a couple times. Like even me, like starting this, I started it, it was a blog, it was a Tumblr, it was a, like I said, and then podcast. And I took a break from it because I was just falling on my face so many times where I was like, I'm done doing this. I feel like nobody sees me. Nobody like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, why am I doing this? And it took all, but I'm so grateful for all those times, like all those mistakes I made, all of this, because it led me to a place where I'm like, okay, I've got this. Like, and then I can learn this and do that. But like, I'm so grateful for those hiccups, but I could not imagine doing that in front of people. I would be like, I mean, it's easier for me to say, oh yeah, like, can you fall like 10 times, whatever, but I'm not at Asbury Lanes in front of people all staring at you. Like I couldn't imagine even playing an instrument in front of like 10 people right now. Like even like or even like my fiance, I couldn't imagine like, oh, let me play this song. Like I would be so nervous.
No, like I remember like, so it was Coral Fang by the Distillers.
Hmm.
That was it was that, it was Damn It by Blink 182, and Dig Up Her Bones by the Misfits.
Misfits, yeah.
Those are my first three. I had 2 weeks to learn them, and I remember the entire
And
time,
you
like,
had to sing them at the same
yeah, and I
time.
had to sing too. And it's
Uh,
like, you know, like I can't. pat my head and rub my stomach at the same
That's a
time.
whole different thing too.
Same.
So,
Yeah. Oh.
but I remember like being up there and like my palms were sweating and like my leg was shaking uncontrollably. And it was absolutely terrifying, but I'm so glad that I did it. And like, I think sometimes doing those terrifying things and like, you know, being okay with maybe it not going perfect
Mhm.
is,
And that can inspire somebody else too.
yeah. And
Oh, wow, she did it.
yeah,
I
I
Yeah.
bet
think
we could do it.
you get a lot like that's how you grow.
No.
Like same thing, like just in everyday life. Like you're gonna make a mistake in your everyday life.
Yeah.
Um, but every mistake is an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. Um, so I don't think that that should stop when it comes to like a creative endeavor. Like be okay and be comfortable with making mistakes and learning from them and growing in what you're doing.
And like
Yeah.
I said before, like with as far as just playing the bass and writing,
Hmm.
that's where everything really started to come together. Like that show and beyond was like the modern era.
Hmm.
Like we still had the lineup to kind of work out at that point, but that was like, oh, and once she started playing and being able to write and play, that then all of a sudden she'd be like, yeah, I have another 6 songs. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's inspired me even. I'm like, what am I doing? I can do this. I can
You
learn
can.
this. Even if I
You
fall on my face, like
1000% can.
we can do this. We can figure this out and finally like I have to. Like I've always again, like I'm like I've always wanted to. And I tried once, I think when I was like a teenager and I was like, oh, this is so hard. But it wasn't set up. Like my parents got me like the guitar for dummies and like this like
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is like nothing that like was going to help me do that. But I
Yeah.
feel like we're in such an era now where whether it's TikTok or other things that we're just like at our fingertips of like you can learn this.
Right. Right.
If people decades ago learned this without all this, like what is there? And I think that ability too, that's kind of inspired me a little bit. Like it's okay if you fall on your face. Like it's really okay or to make a mistake or to like also that ability like of not being good at something. Like it's okay if you're not good at it. You don't have to be right away. Um, and even if you see someone that's really good at it, chances are you don't see how they started. So I
Yeah.
think it's such a great lesson, like for so many people to hear that too, that it's okay. You don't have to be perfect.
Working with the veterans, like we always tell them, they've never like have never played before. We'll say,
Yeah.
we're going to tell you something. The guitar is hard. It's a hard instrument to learn cold. It's not easy. It's hard to learn. So it's okay if it's difficult for you in the
Hmm.
beginning. People think, oh, I was born learning how to, it doesn't work like that. It's hard to learn, and it's okay to kind of get frustrated at the beginning and your fingers start to hurt and I can't make the F chord and that's how but you will. If you just kind
Hmm.
of give yourself a break and give yourself that time and say, "Oh, I'll learn it. I'll
Yeah.
get there."
And
You know,
you just have to
it,
like give yourself grace, really.
right, right. Whereas like the piano, you can go up to the piano and you can play a C chord and it sounds beautiful. You
Hmm.
know, like try to play a C chord on the guitar, having never played it before. It's really hard to get to the point for it to sound beautiful. But you just keep at it and you get there.
Yeah. Oh, I think, yeah, just a like something so beautiful to end this conversation on of like, it's okay. You're going to get there and
Mhm.
not everything. And like, again, whether it's creative or not, just life, it's not perfect. It's okay. Like, it's okay to admit that. But this has been so great. I really appreciate you guys coming on here, sharing everything. I can't wait to hear what's next for you. And again, like I saw those spring, like the dates come, I think on the 15th and beyond. I'm like, all right, what am I doing? What can I figure out? I've got all this life stuff happening. So, but I'm like, it's my goal. Everyone's got to sign their episode photo. So like I have to go see you guys
Oh,
play.
great.
And I really appreciate you. This has been like really, really great.
Well,
Oh,
we're
we
really honored
appreciate
to
you
be here.
too.
Really, really appreciate, just, you're really doing some great work and some great shows. You have some great guests on here, and, I know I'm really excited to be part of that.